All right, today we're going to decode an ancient philosophy that's become, believe it or not, a secret weapon for dealing with all the chaos in our modern lives. You ever feel like you're just living in a world that's spinning completely out of control? Yeah, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by the news, by anxiety, just the sheer randomness of it all, you are definitely not alone. And the solution? It might just be 2,300 years old. You know, this feeling, this deep sense of instability, it's not new at all. In fact, it's the exact environment that gave birth to Stoicism. And not as some, leisurely academic thing, but as a real, practical philosophy for survival, forged right in the middle of a collapsing society. Okay, so to really get what this operating system for the mind is all about, we have to meet its founder, a guy who, and I mean this, had to lose an absolute fortune just to find his true purpose. I want you to just imagine the Jeff Bezos of his day. Now imagine him losing everything, all of it, in one single catastrophic moment. For Zeno of Citium, that's exactly what happened. And you know what? It wasn't the end of his story. It was the explosive start to his real journey. So Zeno starts to see that this shipwreck, this disaster, it wasn't a punishment. It was an opportunity. It basically forced him to look for a whole different kind of wealth, one that you can't sink in the ocean, one that can't be stolen, one that fate can't just take away from you. All right, so from this incredible experience, Zeno started to develop this powerful toolkit, a way to build an absolutely indestructible fortress, not with stone and mortar, but right inside your own mind. Okay, so the foundational idea here, it's brutally simple, but honestly, it's life-changing. It's all about drawing a very, very clear line in the sand of reality. Look at these two columns. The whole point, the absolute key, is that our peace of mind, our tranquility, depends completely on focusing all of our energy on that left column, the stuff we can't control, and then we have to learn to accept everything in that right column as external, as just part of the landscape. The Stoics had this brilliant metaphor to explain this whole idea. Picture this. You're a dog, and you're tied to a moving cart. That cart, that's fate. That's life's unchangeable events. Now, the cart is going to move no matter what you do. Your only real freedom is how you choose to run alongside it. You can fight it and get painfully dragged, or you can run with it. Okay, so that sounds good in theory, right? But does this philosophy actually work in the real world? I mean, could it really be applied by both the lowest person in society and the most powerful? Well, ancient Rome gave us the ultimate stress test for this idea. We've got these two incredible figures, a slave, Epictetus, who was completely powerless physically, and an emperor, Marcus Aurelius, who was the most powerful man on earth. And what's wild is that both of them found peace in the exact same ideas. This story is it's chilling. Epictetus knew, he just understood, that while his master had total control over his leg, his physical body, he, and he alone, controlled his own response. He absolutely refused to give his master control over his inner peace. And then you have this quote, which just brilliantly illustrates the very same idea, but from the complete opposite end of the power spectrum. Even with the absolute power to crush anyone who wronged him, Marcus Aurelius is reminding himself that real strength isn't about getting even. It's about inner control. So we've seen how this worked for the slave and the emperor. But this ancient operating system didn't just fade away into some dusty history books. No way. It got a major software update in the 20th century, and it actually became the backbone of modern therapy. You know the gold standard of modern therapy, CBT? It's basically Stoicism in a modern package. It is so effective because it puts the power back in your hands. It proves that in that little space between something happening and how you feel about it, that's where your power is. The power to choose what you believe. And you see this everywhere, from POW camps in Vietnam, to the boardrooms of Silicon Valley, to the highest levels of pro sports. These ancient ideas have become this essential toolkit for anyone navigating high-stakes, high-stress environments in the modern world. Okay, so we've covered the theory, we've looked at the history, and we've seen how it's used today. That leaves us with just one final, pretty challenging question to think about. Seriously, think about this for a second. Where is the true test of a person's character? Is it in a prison cell where you have almost no choices left? Or is it on a throne where you have almost too many? And that right there is the core of Stoicism. It's about realizing that whatever your circumstances, rich or poor, powerful or powerless, your greatest freedom is always the choice to master your own inner world.